All right, guys. Hey, this is Joey with Harvesting Strength, and I'm doing a little presentation, and it's why powerlifters need to do strongman. So here's the thing. I bet this is the billionth video on YouTube or Loom, depending where you're watching this. I bet it's the same thing you've seen over and over and over. But what's nice is that when you see these messages from different people and experts in the field, it's kind of cool to see their perspective and kind of why they believe the things they believe. So, again, my name's Joseph Lucero. My website's harvestingstrength.com. We work with all people strength-based. So if you want to be a better powerlifter, a better strongman, a better sprinter, a better basketball player, if you're looking to just improve for personal gain, we're definitely a place where you can interact with me and talk about, performance training intervention. So what would make things better for you and your performance. So let's get back into the topic of why powerlifters need to do strongman. So quit bragging about your leverages. So these two pictures have nothing to do with leverages at the current moment. It's just when we talk about powerlifting, I think the current population and social media and, just how much the sport's grown, we get a lot of people who talk about, he's got the best body type, or, yeah, I'm a bench specialist. And dude, that's so lame. Like, do not go and claim yourself as a bench specialist, a deadlift specialist. When you're in powerlifting, you need to be all of them if you want to be good at powerlifting. So, quit bragging about it and quit having a narrow focus on it. So again, I brought back a comment where some people say, I'm built to squat and maybe not deadlift. So some people will use that as an excuse, but no one cares. Like, no one cares about your excuses. I think some of the best powerlifters are the ones that show up, do the work, and they don't really get into all those arguments. But at the same time, probably the better powerlifters in the world have better leverage. So what I mean by leverage is when you focus on the anatomy, like let's talk about person over here. When you focus on their anatomy, some of the big characteristics of successful movement would be torso length, femur length, arm length. Like, for example, let's say this is the perfect specimen here. Sumo or conventional, doesn't matter. Notice how his femur, so from his hip joint to his knee joint, notice how that femur distance almost complements that torso distance between the hip and the shoulder. Notice how it complements it pretty well. So what happens is from the knee to the hip to the shoulder, kind of builds like this upright triangle, and the arm goes straight down. That arm distance right here where it's facing down actually is the same distance that the bar is going to go when you lift it. So if your arm is straight down, the bar is going to go straight up, because that arm distance to me tells me that from the shoulder down to the bar, you have a straight path, and that your shoulder is right over the bar where it needs to be for a successful deadlift. And coincidentally, the shoulder's over the knee joint. So it's like everything's stacked appropriately. So sometimes I'll tell clients of mine, you want to stack your joints appropriately, but what if you can't? So this person, he's not really set up to start the lift yet. You can tell with this person, they have, everything set up facing neutral. So it's not like they're facing up. This person's still looking down, and it looks like they're setting up, but kind of to get a quick video or picture of it all, I chose this on purpose. Let's just pretend he's in the starting position, and notice from the knee joint to the hip joint to the shoulder joint. Notice how the shoulder is beyond the knees. And let's say that he's in his starting position or whatever. This is not going to be a successful position to start a deadlift. Now, if he did really set up and have his face neutral and his chest up, it would probably be a different story. So the arm would go straight down. But let's pretend that, like, from his hip joint to his shoulder, it was a longer distance. Like for me, I have a long torso. So what about the people who have shorter femurs and longer torsos, and no matter what they do, they can never get into a good starting position for the deadlift? That means that they're going to have, I guess, bad leverage, if you want to say it that way, to where if you look at the arm distance from the shoulder to the bar, it's slanted. that means the distance the bar is going to take on liftoff is going to be a little slanted too. It's not going to directly be that way, but essentially we want to look like this, not like this. And some people's femur distance, torso distance, they're so disproportionate that it makes it really hard. But you know what's a great sport that you can't always rely on leverage to be successful? It's strongman. So for strong men and strong women, they have to be, well, strong. So like right here, we have technique. We're talking about, where's the bar path? What are the cues we need to do to get the job done? But in strongman, first of all, there's a lot of technique to it. So I'm not trying to, tell anybody. It's just, you go in there, do what you want to do. There's a lot of technique. But even if this is technique, look at what's happening. A lot of resistance on the toes. Knees are tremendously forwards, very knee dominant. The spine's a little bent. Let me just say, people who do strongman sports and events, they're awesome because they do care. But in the situations, it's all about just getting the weight up. Because, you could be shorter, you could be taller. It doesn't matter. In strongman, you just have to be strong. You have to get the job done. And I think that's going to be a great indicator of a great powerlifter, because if you take on the event training and take on some of the movements like the stones, the yoke, the farmer, you're going to be better built to be a better powerlifter and just be overall strong. You do need technique, but also with powerlifting, the word power is strength and speed. So you need strength. So why not use strongman to build that good strong base? We're going to pause for just a second. All right, hey guys, I'm back to it. So some of the things I think powerlifters should put in their programming is, first of all, if you want a better deadlift, you got to do farmer walk. Now, here's the thing. Farmer walk, you're walking, you're dynamic. It's not the same as a deadlift, clearly. But look from his grip up, it looks like a deadlift. You're holding weight. You have to carry weight in the farmer walk, which is holding weight. But think about all the muscles you're growing with a farmer walk. You're growing grip, upper back, your hips when you walk. All those things are growing. So with some of the people I work with and we're trying to grow their deadlift, it could be where the focus of the workout is a heavy farmer for 40 feet, 50 feet, 30 feet, 20 feet, whatever we design. And then we do speed deadlifts after. And because the farmer is so fatiguing and then the deadlift comes after for speed, now we're working the speed component, the technique component, but we're using a different kind of stimulus to exhaust the anatomy for growing the deadlift. So this is a great off-season idea, as well as maybe being the first part of prep. And same thing with the yoke. Yoke walk looks just like a squat. Again, you're dynamic, you're moving your legs, but big thing is we're just trying to stimulate the body. We're trying to get it exhausted. So doing the yoke, doing the farmer, they both have relatability to the events in powerlifting and grow those muscles that relate to those events. And another suggestion I would do is maybe 1 week you do a heavy yoke for 40 feet, and then you do band resisted speed squats after. But then the next week you do heavy squats and then do the yoke for speed afterwards. Now, the big thing we have to talk about is how do we grow the bench using strongman? I suggest log press. But here's the thing. I didn't say axle. I didn't say barbell. I said log press. And the reason why is because look at the handles. They're neutral grip. When you do a log press, you have to be more tricep dominant, shoulder dominant. My kid, I'm sorry, guys. I try to make this as professional as possible. Hey, in the room. Again, this is the dad life. But with a log press, your elbows are tighter, you work more tricep and anterior deltoid, which could be great for growing your bench press. So I do think there's a reason for this to be in the program. I don't think it's going to translate as better as a farmer or as good as a farmer or a yoke, but I do think the log press does have some physiological transfer to a bench press. Another exercise that's a neutral grip is the dip. Now, the dip, you can kind of maneuver and manipulate leverage to where it's more of the middle region of the pec and the triceps and the deltoids. Since the log press is going overhead, there's not a lot of middle region chest being used. It's more so the upper region that's being used of your chest. But again, I do think it's going to grow those secondary muscles to help with your bench. So hopefully, with all things being said, you did take something from this. I know it's kind of a short video and there's not a lot of cool analysis to it, but again, just something fun to talk about, and why powerlifters should do strongman, and why not flip it? Why not strongman doing powerlifting too? That could be another conversation we have another day. But for now, let's stick with this and hopefully you enjoyed.